Hello fiber friends, and today we will be learning the Tunisian crochet net stitch. And much like most fiber arts, we will be beginning with a slip knot where we will take our yarn, flip it over itself until it creates a little X right there, hold that in place, and take your index and thumb finger behind that loop you just created, pinch onto your working yarn, and pull it through that loop and tighten. And that is your slip knot. Today we will be using a 10mm Tunisian crochet hook, and that is just so that it's easier to see the stitches that I'm working. And that's no more than that, I guess. This stitch does require a multiple of 2. Plus 2. So any even number that you can get as long as you want. It does not matter as long as it is an even number, not an odd number. And so today I'm going to choose my favorite number, 10, and that is how many stitches we will be working. And so we are going to make 10 chains where you will take your working yarn, it's attached to your big ball of yarn, grab it with the crook of your hook and pull it through that loop of your slip stitch, and that is considered your first chain. Let's show that again. You will grab your working yarn with the crook of your hook, pull it through the loop, and that is your second chain. And we're going to continue to do that until we have 10 chains. So this is our chains. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our chains and flip them over to the other side to reveal these little back bumps, and that is what we're going to be working into. I personally like to use the little tip of my hook right here, just because it makes it so much easier to work through these back bumps instead of trying to push this part of the hook into those back bump loops. So what we're going to do is we are going to find our back bumps here. We're going to skip that first one that's immediately attached to this loop here. We're skipping that one. We're going on to the second back bump here. We're going to insert the tip of our hook in that bump, push it through the loop, yarn over with your working yarn so that you can grab it with the crook of your hook, and then pull it through that loop. I'm going to show that again with the next bump in this row. You will insert with the tip of your hook, push it through, yarn over, and then pull it through that loop. And we're going to continue to do that all the way down. Now, this is where you should be counting the loops that are on your hook. I wanted 10 stitches, and so I should have 10 loops on my hook. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect for me. If you wanted more, then definitely this is the place to count your stitches, because that is super crucial when you're working on a pattern that is so dependent on how many stitches you have. So just make sure once you have established that you have the correct amount of stitches or loops that you want, then you will take your working yarn, grab it with the crook of your hook, and pull it through one loop. We're going to grab that yarn again with the crook of our hook and pull it through 2 loops this time, and we're going to continue to pull through 2 loops all the way until we have only 1 loop left on our hook. Alright, and this is how our foundation chain should look. Most Tunisian crochet will begin this way, and so this is how it will look. So now this pattern is worked in multiples of Tunisian crochet knit stitch and the Tunisian crochet knit purled stitch. I know it sounds a little funny, it's a bit of a tongue twister. But yeah, it's in alternates of that. I will show you how that is done. So this first loop here, we're going to skip it because our first loop on our hook counts as our first stitch, and so we always skip this first loop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the Tunisian knit stitch, where you see that loop right there, this loop right here, We're going to work into that loop, basically push your hook all the way through. Yarn over, grab the yarn with the crook of your hook, and pull through. Now our second stitch is going to be the Tunisian crochet knit purled stitch. Now usually with a purled stitch, it's usually a simple stitch where you bring your yarn forward and you work into the bar closest to you, go around, and blah 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 blah. But this is not the simple stitch. So we do still bring our yarn to the front of our work right here. You want it to be in front of your hook. But instead of working into the front bar here, we're going to work it like a knit stitch, where we will insert it in the middle of this loop. So the yarn is in front of the hook. This loop, instead of working this front yarn, we're going to push it through, all the way through. We're going to take this yarn, go around, basically around our hook, yarn it all the way over so that we can now grab that yarn with the crook of our hook and pull it through. Now I like to make sure this is in place just so that I don't grab it by accident. But when you pull it through, make sure that yarn piece right there is underneath where you're pulling. You don't want to pull it as well. You want to make sure that it's underneath so that you're pulling the yarn that you flipped over there. Now the next stitch is going to be just a regular Tunisian knit stitch, which is you find that loop and just work right in, yarn over, then it will be alternating that pattern all the way through. So we're going to be doing right after that plain knit stitch that we did, we're going to do that knit purled stitch, where you want your yarn in front of your hook, work into that loop just like the knit stitch, bring it around, grab that yarn with the crook of your hook and pull it through. And we're going to repeat that alternating pattern all the way down until the end. So we are now at our last end stitch, where you see that loop with an extra little bar going on the outside. It's going to create a loop even at the bottom here. You can see that right there. That's going to be on the most outer side. We're going to work in the middle, basically push it through just like a knit stitch, yarn over, and pull through. Now our back pass is going to be just like usual, where we will take the yarn and the crook of our hook, pull it through one loop, grab the yarn again and pull it through 2 loops, and continue to pull through 2 loops all the way to until you have 1 loop left on your hook. Okay. So, this is how it should look so far. I know it looks a little weird, huh? But that's okay. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to figure out where I went wrong. There we go. Because if I'm not mistaken, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I do believe I may have, yep. I accidentally skipped a stitch right here. It happens. Don't beat yourself up if you manage to skip a stitch. Because I'm looking at this and you see how different this section right here looks to this section. I managed to skip a stitch. Okay, so something that I will say is it's easy to skip stitches. Because this was so close here and it looks like it's wrapping around this, I just completely disregarded it. So I'm going to rectify the small little issue now, and I will meet you back when we only have on the back pass one loop. Okay, now we are back. And now all of the stitches are worked. I did not miss any stitches. Okay, now this pattern is worked in alternating stitches. So in our last row we started off with a plain Tunisian crochet knit stitch. So this one now will become a Tunisian crochet knit purled stitch. So again, the yarn is in the front of our hook. Push it through that loop, go all the way around, and then pull it through with the crook of your hook, just like so. And the next stitch will just be a regular Tunisian crochet knit stitch. Okay, and we're going to alternate that all the way down. If you want an indicator of what you should be doing, like based off of a previous row, if you can't remember, if you look at your stitches, you see this loop here, you see how there's nothing in front of this loop? That was just a regular Tunisian crochet knit stitch. So in this stitch you will work the purled knit stitch. The next stitch over, you see, has a little bar, a little yarn ball right over it. That is the purled knit stitch. So what we're going to do is we're just going to work a regular knit stitch into this loop. And that is how you can tell, just in case you can't keep it in mind, or if you had to put the project down for whatever reason and you're getting back to it and you're just like, oh my gosh, what stitch was I at? That is a good way to make sure that you keep your place. But yes, we're going to work that alternating pattern all the way down, and we're going to do that all the way until the end. So we are at the end stitch where you see that loop and that extra bar on the outermost side. We're going to work right in the middle of that, push that hook through, yarn over, and pull it through. Our back passes will always be the same. I'm going to count my stitches this time. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I didn't miss any stitches. But this is how it looks so far. The back passes will be the same as our other previous rows. I am going to work a little more rows off screen just so that there's a larger sample to see for this pattern. Da 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 da. So this stitch is supposed to emulate a knit like seed stitch. This does have a lot of holes in it, and that's because I used a 10mm Tunisian crochet hook, which is larger than is usually suggested for this yarn size. It is just to make these stitches easier to see while I am working them. This, because it does emulate the seed stitch, it does have a certain type of look, which is very pretty, but it can also, like, it has more drape than the Tunisian crochet seed stitch that was shown before. So this actually is a lot better for garments, especially because if you do work it with a larger crochet hook, then it will have good holes, good for breathing, like breathing holes I call these. So you can make like a cardigan or a sweater, something very simple. It's not going to be the absolute warmest, but it's not going to be like super cold either. It'll be very nice, very pretty. But yeah, I hope that this was helpful to everyone. Alrighty, happy crafting!